We'll make decisions that change who we are. Choices that shape the rest of our lives. These start with conviction. True belief that our minds transform into reality. The made-up mind is a powerful thing. Using the power of the made-up mind, true potential comes to light. With this power, even the best and most complex tools can be accessed with ease. But what do you do with nothing standing in your way and everything you need right at your fingertips? Well, whatever you want.
What's going on, contractors? Dominic Caminata here with Grosso University. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is one of the most important webinars we've ever done. We're unveiling a brand new program that we created through Grosso University in partnership with Sherwin Williams, Predictive Sales AI, EagleView, and some of our participating manufacturing partners, called the Grosso University Metal Roofing Academy. So what exactly is the Grosso University Metal Roofing Academy? So what we've done in partnership with Sherwin Williams, Predictive Sales AI, EagleView, and our participating manufacturing partners, we've created the most turnkey and widely successful metal roofing program in history. If you're looking for a program to help you generate leads, to give your salespeople opportunities to go do their job, be the agents of influence, if you're looking for a sales training platform that's going to show your salespeople how to capitalize on those leads and come out with that sale more often than not, if you're looking for proposal tools and visualizers and all the software you need to know exactly what you need to order, exactly how to install the products, all the back-end support you need to be successful, get your crews properly trained, this program includes absolutely everything you need to become the dominant metal roofing contractor in your respective territory and make it the most successful program you have ever offered. So I'm honored to be joined on this call by Mark McDonald, Chris Morris, and Rob Supper. And what they're going to be doing is explaining each facet of this entire program, how you're going to be able to generate quality leads. Of course, we're going to talk about how Grosso University can help you capitalize on those leads with the presentation, the sales training tools, the in-home presentation that we're going to provide. We're also going to take a deep dive into the Roofing Passport, which is created in partnership with Sherwin Williams and EagleView. That's going to show you exactly how you can know to the last screw exactly what you're going to need to install that metal roof to perfection, and how you can get the back-end training and support necessary to scale your crews so you're never going to be outselling your means to install that product. So the first company we want to bring into this webinar is Predictive Sales AI. We have the honor of being joined by Chris Morris, who's one of the smartest and brightest minds in the home improvement industry pertaining to artificial intelligence and how their exclusive software can help you generate quality leads. Because that's really where this entire cycle begins first and foremost, is giving your sales team and your sales warriors the opportunities to go into a home, deliver the masterful roofing presentation to truly make that close the natural conclusion. And you're going to be absolutely blown away by the amount of information and intelligence you can gather with their proprietary artificial intelligence that's going to literally allow your salespeople to know more about the homeowner than they do. So I'm pleased to welcome to the webinar Chris Morris. Chris, how's it going today?
Great. Thanks for having me, Dominic, and thank you to Grosso University.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got some exciting things we're going to share, and it's obviously an honor to be working with you on this program. It's one of the most exciting things I've ever been a part of. But what I want to do is kind of give the audience a little bit of background on what is Predictive Sales AI, how is it integrated into this program, and what are some of the benefits these contractors will be able to realize having this technology as the backbone of their lead generating machine?
Absolutely. So Predictive Sales AI is a brainchild that's just over 6 years old from Spectrum, the parent company. And when I say Spectrum, Dom, I don't mean the cable company. So if Hallmark goes out, that's a whole different spectrum, but privately held here in the Chicagoland area. But we've been helping contractors with digital marketing and software for just over over 3 decades now, believe it or not. And that digital has changed quite a bit. And here we are talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning engines that are specific and designed for home service contractors. So that's all we do here. And so our whole business around that, using artificial intelligence to go not only reach into the market, but once we do and we're able to go procure a lead, giving key insights into that lead. So the likelihood of that closing to net good business, family formations, interpersonal, data, and understanding, what people, products, and pricing that you'd want to present before you go. So we really know before we go using this technology. But why we're here today, Dom, is to speak about how we're using a brand that creates what we call TNC, trust and credibility. And we don't think there's a better one than the Sherwin Williams brand as it relates to all homeowners. So one of the most recognizable brands in the world. And so we thought, working with him, what a novel idea is to take a brand that is synonymous with quality and integrity and use that to go propel metal roofs and really help contractors that may be suffering from asphalt fatigue, and be able to go predict what type of homeowners most represent and look alongside EagleView, most likely look like a metal roofing or a high-end metal or any roofing type opportunity. And so we use our artificial intelligence machine learning engine to go procure those leads.
Yeah, I think this program is so timely because I can't tell you how many asphalt roofing contractors I'm talking to that are just having a very difficult time getting materials. So I think the big thing here that we need to be focusing on is, what am I going to do to diversify my business? So whether you offer roofing now or maybe you don't, maybe you're just a really high quality company that wants to add another exclusive product to your menu. But I think more than ever before, we need to look for other products, other solutions we can offer to our customers to truly diversify, so we can continue the pipeline of installs, the cash flow coming in. We don't want to be having these long times where there's like 12 months in between from phone call to install, right? And that's what a lot of the pain points I'm experiencing with contractors right now. And with Predictive Sales AI, it's not far-fetched to say that when the salesperson goes into the house, in some cases, they're going to know more about their prospect than maybe the prospect even does.
Right. Yeah. So we've used this modeling to go give key insights, but not to be too creepy, right, Dom? So we do understand what, for example, what vehicles every homeowner has in the United States. But so we're not going to ask you to say, hey, where's Tina in the white Sequoia, right? But we're going to give you insights and say that Tina most likely represents what we call a cohort or a group of folks that make these type of decisions. And so with your training and the ability to go give, and I know we call it everything, but a kill kit or smash, I believe, is some of the terminology used, but to go allow someone to go give a differentiated product and a value proposition to the homeowner, knowing that the homeowner is a good target, is really where we see the rubber meeting the road with this program.
Excellent.
So here we go. Let me just show just a really brief sort of generic way of way we take a very complex situation. So inside of this data warehouse, we have every home in the United States with hundreds of points on them, every homeowner with hundreds of data points with them, tens of millions of resulting leads from contractors to help understand, what a good metal candidate looks like maybe versus a poor. Of course, we do this across multiple different products and go-to-market strategies, whether it be window or siding or bass. But when you take a look at it, we go create a targeted audience, so an AI generated audience where we go use that data and go market to those audience through a multi-channel scenario. So whether that be search or social or different means to go get those folks. We then have conversion elements alongside the Sherwin Williams brand. So right, the tip of the sword saying, hey, you trust us in your kid's room or in your kitchen. Why not trust us on your roof? Being able to go do that alongside the contractor too. So it's a contractor's brand going in alongside Sherwin Williams, going in there. And then what we do is we take that and put it inside of our AI machine learning engine. And once those leads are procured, they come in and they're washed with those AI insights. So you're able to go look and go further and be more efficient with how you treat the leads. And so here's just a kind of an example of what the machine's doing. So while you're not getting these per se like this, the machine is plucking these folks. And we know inside of our predictive model that 5 represents the most likely netting to good business and 1 the least likely. So we're going out and we know that about 87.5% of net good business business comes from a predictive match index of 3s, 4s, and 5s. So what we're doing is we're marketing to the 3, 4s, and 5s and giving our contractors the best opportunity to go convert those. And once they do, right, how do they convert? Well, they're leveraging the brand. So they're saying, hey, here's Sherwin Williams to a good audience, and here's some that you should at least take a look at.
And that has a major impact on their cost per issue lead, right? Because they're not sitting there paying for and watering down the whole thing with all these 1s and 2s necessarily. So they know that when they're making that investment for every opportunity, that's going to be the best return on investment. It's going to give them the highest probability to get the outcome they desire.
Yeah, absolutely. We know those folks would be more inclined to look at a visualization. They'd be more inclined to hear a 2-hour, 2.5-hour presentation. We know they're buyers, not liars, if you will. And so it really gives our contracting customers a leg up, a little bit of that ether, that confidence to go in and really pitch hard to an audience that is receptive. We do have, financial stability baked into the model as well. It's just one little part baked into the model, but understanding that there'll be a good finance for a higher ticket item. So it really puts a contractor in a good scenario to raise average ticket prices and differentiate themselves inside the market. So just a little bit about the complexity. It all goes in and managing. There's so many other capabilities, Don, but I thought I'd actually do what a lot of people dare not do, but show live tech on a webinar. So So wish me luck, Dom.
Luck, you don't need it. You're very experienced, so.
Yeah. Does that mean old? But here we are looking in. This is a live look into something that all contractors get in part of this program is the Predictive Sales AI instance. So that is the chassis that sits on top of this engine of data, right? So it'd be really hard for us to drive it. We need a team of data scientists like we have at Predictive Sales AI to drive it. And I'm assuming most of our contractors don't have that capability. So we put a chassis on top of it so that they can keep it on the road, and they're really able to direct that engine in a multitude of ways. So while this works for the program, it also works for offline or any type of leads that a contractor would ingest. So if you look here, Dom, and at the top right, you'll see a 5 out of 5.
That's perfect. Can I go run that one?
Well, hey, look at it. It looks like a good prospect. So we're just showing a little bit of this roofing-centric customer, but the property, we know when it was built, we know how long they lived in the home. So this gives us a good idea of why the inquiry or why the form fill, or why the text, why the call. And you start looking and say, okay, well, they've been in there for 21 years. That's probably past the general life cycle of that product, regardless of what it is, or they're looking for a change, or maybe they're looking to move and they need to make sure that they get it to the best quality they can to realize the value out of their home. We know that they're married. We know that they're likely parents. We know how old they are. We see the home value. We know what type of ladder to bring out. We know what kind of roofing that they have on there as well. And further, if I were to click here, just like a WeatherFax, Dom, I'm able to go see the extreme weather that may potentially cause that life cycle to that natural life cycle to change. Or maybe it's a way to go find a need of why you need a metal roof and the qualities and the durability that it will provide versus the incumbent shingle that they're looking to change.
Yeah, so the big thing with this program, in the metal roofing business specifically, there's almost zero salesmanship, there's zero professionalism. So when you go into a house armed with all this information and it's evident that you are a top-notch contractor, you've done your due diligence, you are prepared to provide a high-quality service, these prospects, these homeowners are going to be absolutely blown away. And this is obviously, the starting point that we're talking about. As you'll see throughout this entire program, the same caliber and attention to detail you see right in front of you before you even get to the house is the same attention to detail we have throughout this entire program. This is absolutely incredible stuff. And I made it abundantly clear in the discovery, anytime I'm sitting down with a homeowner, that we do have some of this information. I literally talked to John and Mary Smith and I'd say, according to my notes here, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, or Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you've been here for around 20 years, is that accurate? They're like, oh yeah. Now let me ask you a question. Is the roof something that you knew needed to be replaced within the last 6 months to a year, or is this something maybe for the last 5 or 10 years you knew at some point needed to be updated? And sometimes they'll say, well, Dominic, we've been thinking about this for 5 years. And you're like, 5 years you've been thinking about this? 5 years? Man, 5 years, that's a long time to think about this, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, John and Mary. Let me ask you, what was the one thing that kept you from getting this roof taken care of 5 years ago? Could it have been the... And they're like, oh yeah, Dominic. Well, Mr. John and Mary, I'm glad to see you're now in a position where we can be proactive and get this taken care of. Because the last thing I want to do is be the guy to come out here and replace your roof when you need it. a lot of homeowners wait till their roof is caving in or the water's pouring before they do something. And we're really excited to be to offer a true permanent solution to your problems today. So, but having this information, it makes you come off as a professional. And sometimes homeowners will ask you, Chris, they'll be like, how did you know we've been living here so long? So Mr. and Mrs. Jones, we are professionals. We do our research so we can provide a superior service to our clients.
Yeah.
Wow.
We'd like to condense the time that we're here by doing as much pre-work as we can.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about being efficient with your time, Mr. John and Mary. I'm sure you can appreciate that.
So something we know too, Dom, just statistically, we know that generally speaking, in the United States, most text messages are read within the first 3 minutes. Matter of fact, about 95% of all text messages in the U.S. are read in the first 3 minutes. So this platform gives the ability to go text, email, to go send reports, do all kinds of things inside of it, because we know that when someone fills a form out, we know when they call that they have intent. Right. But just like all of us, we get busy. We may not answer our voicemails. We may not answer our call on the first time you call. We may not recognize the number, but we surely look at a text. So we give the ability for contractors to text. So the moment that lead comes in, not only do we know that it was generated from a Sherwin Williams campaign, we also know who they are, and we're able to text them and say, hey, thanks, Dom, for filling this out, or hey, thank you, Smith, for filling this out. We are in the area. Here's a couple pictures of some jobs that we've done around your area. We'd sure like to meet with you this week if possible. Just being able to go give them, this is capabilities that also come alongside of this program.
Well, like you said, I mean, just having that brand recognition behind all this, it makes it very easy for that homeowner to play that positive movie in their mind of all the amazing things that are going to happen. Because all homeowners, they make decisions hypothetically before they ever make them in reality. And of course, everyone knows Sherwin Williams, a lot of the other companies that are going to be featured in this program. So the trust, the clout, the credibility that every representative is going to have when they walk into a house, having all that people standing behind them, you're among the elite metal roofing companies in the history of this industry, and that's going to be abundantly clear the moment you step foot in that door. It's all about differentiation, right? We want to differentiate from what everybody else offers. And when you're part of this program, that's the thing you're going to be armed with, is you're going to be among an exclusive program that nobody else in your territory is going to be able to offer, which is absolutely amazing. So differentiation is going to be one of the easiest things ever. And that's what a lot of people struggle with in the roofing business. And I hear that all the time, Chris. They have a hard time differentiating. Well, these things, having technology like this that you can demonstrate in the home, everything you do when you're in the house is differentiating. And I guarantee there's going to be no roofing companies that are going to be going to a house offering a product as quality as what you're going to be offering with the technology and the preparation, all the resources. So you're always going to be able to have the upper hand when it comes to setting yourself apart from chucking a truck, layer with a ladder.
And before I say thank you again for having us, and thank you to Sherwin Williams for really piloting this program and that we've proved out, the last thing is, the capabilities that you'll see through the rest of this presentation are really built for folks to bolt on a new avenue of revenue, to differentiate in a vertical that they're already existing, or to add to a current business with new capabilities. And so I just say, anyone that's listening to this, don't be scared, because from the tip all the way to the production has been thought about with care and is handling through this assembly line of groups of unique services and professionals. So, if you're looking to scale your business, looking to add capabilities, we have something for you, and we'll meet you where you are and help you expand your business.
I couldn't agree more, and I'm really glad, we mentioned Sherwin Williams a lot in this. Sherwin Williams is not going to create anything halfway. When they do things, the reason why they have the brand recognition, the reputation they do, is they make sure everything is done right the first time. And we're honored to be a part of it. We're honored to have you as a part of this program. So those of you, or anybody that wants to reach out to you personally or get in contact with you, is there any easy way they can get a hold of you to get more information?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what we'll do is we'll throw up a contact slide here,
Okay.
Dom, and we'll get everyone's the ability to go connect with us as well. But it's predictivesalesai.com is a great way to find us. Who knew a software and digital marketing? We're all URL driven. We don't have any paper here, Dom. So that's the best way to get a hold of us and see some of the other capabilities we have even outside of this program.
You
You
don't
don't have a Hotmail or anything like that?
Oh, you mean, well, yeah, and for those of you that have received it, it's probably a scam or a phishing one that would come from my Hotmail account.
Okay, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Chris. Have a fantastic day. And obviously, that takes care of step one here, your lead generating machine. So that's the beginning part, right? The foundation. Again, if you're out of leads, you're out of business. We need to have opportunities to go in and deliver that masterful presentation. So what's step two? And this is something I just want to say flat out. We are absolutely honored and privileged to be a part of this. And Sherwin Williams, as Chris Morris mentioned, is really piloting this entire program. And they wanted to make sure that as we're generating these quality leads, that your sales team has the tools necessary to go into that house with confidence, with their masterful presentation, their samples of supplies, following a proven step-selling sales process, so they can truly make that close a natural conclusion and come out earning that customer's business more often than not. So that's where we come into play, and we just want to give you a little bit of an overview as to what we're creating and what we've created for this program to give your sales team the tools they need to do their job. So the first thing I like to refer to is Grosso University is a sales training and business development platform in the home improvement industry. So some people know us for our closers camps, some people know us for our sales academy. We do a lot of training, but we train and consult with companies all over the United States. And my specific skill set here is building custom masterful presentations to give your sales team the training and the tools they need to go with confidence, follow that roadmap to the sale, and truly make that close the natural conclusion. So there's a couple major tools and components that we're including with this exclusive metal roofing program. Of course, one thing we want to make sure we have is that paint by numbers system, that roadmap to the sale that your salespeople can execute consistently, so you have results as a contractor that are predictable, replicatable, duplicatable. And you know that every precious lead that's coming from Predictive Sales AI, especially on a 3 to 5, I mean, we should be closing 100% of those, right? I mean, those are amazing leads. But making sure that you are maximizing every single penny you're spending on your advertising efforts. And that's really what this is all about. So what I'm demonstrating here is this is our Grosso University Metal Roofing Program workbook. And without getting overwhelmed, this is literally a 160-page Bible of in-home selling. This is literally going to show your sales team exactly how to go into that home, sell metal roofing, and how to close and handle objections the right way. So we have an 11-step sales process at Grosso University that we train that literally teaches that salesperson from the moment they wake up in the morning to the moment they go into the house, how to gain entry, how to do a proper introduction, how to go through the entire needs assessment, the survey, how to do a proper inspection to create urgency, to get the homeowner committed to doing the work, delivering that masterful company story, building high levels of trust and credibility, and having that customer truly convinced that when they get that roof done, you are the company they want doing the work. We have built into our step selling process this section called Evolution. This is the industry options section where we're going to kill asphalt or any alternatives to what you're selling, and ideally funnel it down to your exclusive metal roofing solution or nothing. And then, of course, talking about your masterful product presentation, we got the whole product demo that we're going to teach your salespeople on, how to make this product truly walk on water and get the homeowner to say 3 things. Those 3 things are I want it, I need it, I must have it. And we promise you that by the end, when your salespeople master this in-home presentation, the customer will be saying those 3 things. And we funnel it down to one thing and one thing only standing in the way with our sales process, and that's affordability. Affordability, more often than not, is the only thing standing in the way, because we kill the alternatives to this solution like killing a flea with a sledgehammer and get the homeowner completely and utterly convinced that when they get their roof done, this is the only metal roof they want installed in their home. And of course, once they have it boiled down to affordability, your salespeople are going to be like well-trained chess players through this sales methodology, where they're always 4 or 5 moves ahead. So they're going to know how to properly deliver the total investment. They're going to know how to properly overcome objections, how to sell on financing, negotiate through financial terms, establish deposits. They're going to know how to demonstrate a strong return on investment, so your prospects can make decisions on emotion and justify them logically at the same time. They're going to know how to go through and handle the 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5 no's while controlling their disruptive emotions. We go through extensive training on objection handling frameworks and controlling disruptive emotions so the salesperson can influence the prospect in the direction in which they want them to go. All that information is going to be at your disposal through this Bible of in-home selling. Now you may be asking, well, how am I going to get my salespeople to read all this? Well, the good news is this entire student workbook is going to be paired with a video training series where myself personally, yours truly, is going through this entire metal roofing program in lockstep with the student workbook to show your salespeople exactly how to do it. So you have me doing my virtual training, and this video training series is not just going to be give them a video and that's it. It's going to come built in with testing and curriculum. So when you have a new salesperson that's learning this new metal roofing program and how to sell it, you can literally assign them the video training series paired up with the student workbook, and you can track and monitor their progress through chapter 1 all the way up until chapter 13 at the end here. How are they progressing? Are they taking the test, the final exams? Are they mastering the content? Because we want to hold our sales team accountable for mastery of this. And we know for a fact that once they go through this entire video training series and the student workbook, so they're not having to pace shoot on their own, they're going to be one of the most proficient and well-trained sales professionals in the industry. We call them Grosso University Sales Warriors. That's why we have Leonidas here. That's what Grosso University is all about. Now, one thing I want to demonstrate here, a lot of people ask, well, you got the workbook, you got the video training series, which is great. However, what are my salespeople carrying into the house? So those precious leads that you're going to be getting through Chris Morris's team and Predictive Sales AI, what are my salespeople carrying into the house? So in partnership with the various metal roofing manufacturers in this program, we're going to be designing soft kits, samples, and displays you're going to be able to carry into the house. They're going to allow you to have what we call a good, better, best system. So it's going to be built on the premise of a good, better, best system, but you're going to have all the tools you need to deliver that masterful presentation, select the perfect product or metal roofing solution for that customer's needs. And then we've actually designed, again, Sherwin Williams and a lot of our other partners in this organization are helping create this in-home presentation, but it's following our Grosso sales methodology. We have the entire in-home presentation created for you. And the best part of it is, as you're going through this in-home presentation, and I can go through the different slides, I'm actually creating videos in the video training series, going through each slide of this masterful presentation, how to basically explain this directly to your prospect. If you're a contractor watching this, by the time this gets to you, by the time we, of course, through Sherwin Williams, through our different partners on this call, through the various metal roofing manufacturers, all the slides you see here displayed are going to be customized and white labeled specific for your business. So all these slides are going to be your brand guidelines, your logos, your images, your facts, your figures, your articles of information. So it's going to be a truly exclusive, customized masterful presentation that we're going to build specifically for your company, but it's going to be following our Grosso step selling sales methodology. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up is if you go to this right here, the student workbook, and this is what I call a paint by numbers system. So again, I'm not a great artist, but if you ask me to slap something freestyle on a canvas, it'll look like a 2-year-old drew it. However, if you give me a paint by numbers system, you can select the color that matches the number, and you just fill in the little section on the canvas, and before you know it, when you're done, you got a masterpiece. That's exactly how we built this out. So when you get into the student workbook, you'll see that we actually have the slides of each of these, of the masterful presentation, inside of the workbook with the corresponding scripts. Which means, how many excuses do the salespeople have for not mastering this methodology? So they have all the scripts, they have all the screenshots of the slides, and all this stuff will be custom tailored for your organization. So you truly have a sales training platform, a foundation to grow a sales army, and it's already turnkey out of the box, built for you. And again, we can't thank Sherwin Williams enough. They're piloting this program. This whole thing's sponsored by Sherwin Williams. But this is what we do. This is Grosso University's specialty. And any personal training that you will need, if you need any virtual training as a contractor, we can tee up virtual trainings with your sales team to go over your presentation. So that way you have that personalized training program so you know exactly what needs to be done. So I just wanted to explain that leads are only as good as how they're handled. and we don't want to be wasting any money on this program. If you're a contractor, you're thinking you want the max return on your investment. So through the partnership with Predictive Sales AI, Sherwin Williams, and the other partners in this organization, in this entire metal roofing program, we're taking care of all those things for you. Just as Chris Morris said, we're not going to leave you hang out to dry in any facet in this entire program, including but not limited to the back end of the business, which is the next talking point we're going to be discussing. As some of you probably know, I can talk about Grosso University for hours. But what I want to get into next is how are we going to have the tools to properly generate proposals, to get the proper measurements, to make sure that when our salespeople are pricing out the job or when our crews are going out to install the work, that we have everything required to get this job done perfectly. Because one of the number one pain points that we find in a lot of companies all across the country is the back end of the business. A lot of contractors are actually terrified to get into the metal roofing industry because one of the number one challenges is getting quality crews, making sure those crews are properly trained, and holding them accountable, making sure we get the job done right the first time. When I first entered this program, that was the first question I asked. Because I'm not concerned about the salespeople going in and selling. I know they're going to sell the product. We're not concerned about giving you quality leads. We know that's going to be a given. But what tools and what resources are we going to provide to make sure that the back end is running smoothly? So I'm really honored to introduce our next guest on this webinar, Rob Supper from EagleView. And he's going to be taking a deep dive into what EagleView is, how it integrates with this entire roofing passport, which we'll give you more information on. But it's really the heart of the proposal generating software, making sure that you know all the materials and equipment you need to get this job done, and make sure you have the back-end support and resources. So EagleView, Rob, I just want to say I've used EagleView for many, many years. When I first started selling roofing, we cut our teeth using EagleView, even going back 6, 7, 8 years ago. And obviously the technology is ever evolving, and we're honored to have you on the webinar so you can show us all the innovative things that EagleView is doing. So how's it going, Rob?
Going great. I'm super excited to be here today with you guys.
Excellent.
Yeah, so if you don't mind, those viewers here that maybe have heard of EagleView, but maybe don't quite understand what EagleView is or how it differentiates from some of these other satellite type products that they can give estimates with. If you don't mind, just I know you got a wonderful slide that we're showing here. What is it that makes EagleView so special and unique? And how does it give the roofing passport the firepower it needs to generate such accurate proposals?
Great question, Dom, and I hear it all the time. So, it's great to introduce EagleView to those who don't know about us, and certainly kind of reinforce what we are to those people who are familiar with this, because there's a lot of misperceptions out there. And just kind of baseline everybody on what EagleView is. We're an imagery company, and we produce data that comes out of it. And I just wanted to go back and talk about what the current modern imaging methods are that are commonly used in our industry. Certainly remodeling, and there's a variety of applications. So really, I want to start at the top. In satellite imagery, pretty much everybody's.
You're forgetting Chuck in a truck going up there with his tape measure, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We are trying to help Chuck in a truck get faster and better and more accurate. It's exactly what we do.
That's awesome.
But when we look at the images, satellite is open source. It's available to everybody. You can just hop on Google Earth and grab your satellite images. It starts at about 2.6 million feet above the ground is where satellites take their pictures. They also take the pictures directly top down. We call that orthogonal. So it's a top down image. Where you find the next layer of imagery that's produced is via airplanes. Typically, airplanes are flying anywhere from 3,000 to 10,000, average about 7,000 feet above the ground. And they use fuselage mounted high resolution camera equipment to capture imagery. And then at the bottom layer, you've got the drones. So drones are becoming much more common. They are used to take extraordinarily high resolution photos, but you have to be on the job. So you have to visit the project in order to build that data set. Where EagleView fits in is in the airplanes. We have a fleet of about 130 airplanes. We fly them year round. We fly them all over the country. We have about 98% of the structures in the country imaged. And on the next two slides, I'll show you really, really why that's important. So we talk about satellite imagery being top down.
So I'm just curious on this topic, what camera technology are these airplanes equipped with?
have a variety of different camera technologies, and we've been developing as we go. So they're getting better. They're getting higher resolution. And what we've done with our original camera system, it had 5 lenses on it. So you get a top down, and then you get 4 oblique, is what we call oblique images. And we'd run those around 3,000 feet above the ground. Now we've developed this new Pacific platform that uses an articulated camera system that allows us to get 3 to 5 times better resolution at 10 to 12,000 feet, which means we can capture imagery and data extraordinarily fast with a much higher level of accuracy. Really, that brings us to about a 4-level or a 4-inch per pixel resolution compared to satellite, which is about a 20 to 30 inches per pixel. Yep. With our new Penta camera system, we can get down to 0.75 inches per pixel, just extraordinary resolution. And that it entirely leads to the accuracy of the data that we provide.
It's mind-blowing what you can do, because when the airplanes are taking those images, you are getting that unique perspective. So I was actually using EagleView to sell replacement windows. I was using the EagleView Walls Edition, and I couldn't believe how accurate that was, where I could actually pull up that imaging to the homeowner. I was virtually selling windows using EagleView, and I was able to one-call close it. And one of the big things I was able to do to build trust and credibility and set myself apart was pull up these EagleView images, show the different angles of their house, show the actual measurements, and walk through the homeowner. It's highly impressive what you're able to do and how you're able to generate such detailed reports.
It's exactly right. And when you pull in the images and our data on the front end of the process at the selling side of it, you get to leverage all of that value in the process. So it's not a production tool; it's actually a sales tool that feeds into our production. So, and really to illustrate exactly what you were talking about, what landmark is this? This is an orthogonal picture. This is a top-down picture with using EagleView's high-resolution photography, but it's very difficult to understand the attributes of the structure until you go to the next slide.
Yep.
And that's where we're going to demonstrate what oblique imagery is. So, Mark, go to the next slide for me. It's the Hollywood sign. So you wouldn't get
never be able to tell.
Exactly. So what you lack from a satellite image is 3 dimensions. You get a 2-dimensional photograph from a satellite image, but with EagleView technology and EagleView camera systems, we actually create a 3D rendering or 3D digital twin of the structure on the ground, because we not only get the top down, but we get the oblique images. So we take photographs of every structure, all 4 cardinal directions. So essentially we fly north-south, north-south, east-west, east-west, capture image after image after image after image, and then we can render or recreate the structure down to sub-1-inch imagery in 3 dimensions. And that's really the data engine behind the MetalView program and the Roofing Passport, which is what Mark's going to talk about here in a second, is really it really drives the data here.
Well, that's got to help with the accuracy pertaining to like the pitch of the roof, if there's any obstacles in the way. Sometimes if you're just doing an aerial top-down view, you got like a tree branch or some obstruction. Because I've actually had it, not with the EagleView, but with just some of these other basic satellite type proposal tools where the pitch of the roof was incorrect. Because we were always trained to double check that, right? So go there with a pitch gauge and make sure we're calculating this thing accurately. But with EagleView, obviously having such a detailed rendering and having the different 3D models, I'm assuming that helps with getting a more accurate to the square, probably even more accurate than you can get with a tape measure.
It is. And, Mark, if you go to the next slide, you'll, where we go with that. I mean, even one on 12 pitch, the difference between 612 and 712 on especially a large roof could be 3, 4, 5% different, and that's either lost sales opportunity on the revenue side or lost a profit on the production side if you don't get it right. So where you marry all this stuff up, EagleView's got orthogonal top down and oblique imagery. We have images and the data behind all that, and we produce the property report. And key to this is you can measure remotely. It really drills in that.
Yeah, because again, we've had that happen. I mean, historically, because we didn't always use EagleView. When I first started selling roofs, we actually had a lot of issues where our salespeople were mismeasuring roofs because salespeople aren't really production savvy. They're salespeople, for God's sakes, right? So literally, we would have them turn in jobs, and we'd always make sure they write the square footage of the roof. And in some cases, they're like 5, 6, 7 square off because they didn't calculate the pitch correctly. They didn't calculate for waste. And EagleView's taking care of all that for you.
100%. So then just as a summary, we've got the 130 airplanes, 98% of the country that's covered. We offer oblique and ortho imagery at up to 70 times the detail with satellite imagery. It's a huge differentiator. We've got monstrous capacity, to produce data and reports over there. And our new camera platform, like on the twin engine Aztecs, we can capture 4 times the resolution at about 5 times the speed. So it's very unique, it's very revolutionary.
And all this data, all this quality, and all this high-end imagery, this is what allows you to go into the visualizers and make such high-quality 3D models that literally look lifelike in some cases when you get those rendered properly.
Exactly. So here's kind of, when you put all this imagery together, you put our proprietary software together, the output is what's really important. So, it's nice to know that other stuff and it's valuable, but really what you want is the data behind, the science that comes out here. EagleView produces the premium roof report, but it's not just the PDF report, it's the XML, what we call XML data behind it. So it is the detailed, geo-referenced line length data behind the entire structure that gets us down to sub 1 inch in many cases, that recreates the entire 3-dimensional structure of the roof. And where that fits into the roofing passport is the data, not just summarized data on a PDF, but the actual metadata behind the imagery is funneled right into the roofing passport to give remarkable accuracy. And it is necessary to make the entire roofing passport platform work, specifically in the metal roofing industry. It's key here. So what we talk about next is really when you couple all these things together.
And that type of image right there, by the way, when you show that type of stuff to the homeowner, it literally blows their mind, because sometimes we take this stuff for granted. I've been in the industry for a while, so I've seen a lot of images like this. But a lot of times, this is the first time a homeowner ever heard of such a thing, and they certainly aren't getting this from your fly-by-night type roofing contractors, right? So when you're armed with this type of a picture, this type of photograph, and you're able to break things down in such minute detail, the level of trust and credibility, and again, it's all about playing that positive movie in the prospect's mind of all the wonderful things that are going to happen when they give you their hard-earned money. So I absolutely love the detail of your reports. I have this stuff teed up and ready to go on cue to be able to show and walk through with the homeowner right away.
So when you couple all this together, Predictive Sales AI, EagleView, and then the Sherwin Williams Roofing Passport, you get what we framework on the EagleView side is project compression. Really what we're doing is trying to drive efficiencies using digital technology, to produce results that are more accurate and faster all the way across the way. We look and we help consult with people as well when we're out in the field talking about trying to eliminate manual processes. What was once a manual process, chucking a truck with a ladder and a tape measure, has been replaced by digital technology, through the use of EagleView. And as you identify those time wasters and time killers in your workflow, you squeeze out. It's not just one discrete action. It's all of them together that saves hours, days, weeks of time in the entire project. And when you combine all of these technologies together in one seamless platform, you'll find not only closing rates go up, ROI goes up, profitability goes up, job time duration goes down, and all of that money can get reinvested back into your
accuracy in your proposals generator, right? And let's not forget safety. It gave me, it helped me sleep better at night knowing that I didn't have all these salespeople climbing up on roofs, especially steep roofs, trying to go along with their tape measure and take pictures and all this stuff. And don't get me wrong, I think it's important that they at least do a good roof inspection. But this dramatically improves the safety and the liability of the whole thing. Because let's be honest, salespeople, they're not roofers more often than not, and having them just in regular tennis shoes climbing up on roofs taking measurements, it's a scary thought. So eliminating the danger associated with the old school way of estimating is another thing that makes this investment pay for itself, in my opinion.
And safety and danger are super important, and that also leads to better profitability, because your insurance liability can go down when you're keeping your people off there. So really, to illustrate what we're talking about on this, they did a case study with Allstate Exteriors. They were founded in 2002. They serve the greater Ohio area, roofing, gutters, skylights, 35 employees. We spent a lot of time drilling into these time wasters and where they could squeeze out efficiencies. With their digital transformation all the way across the board, really the money here is this bottom right-hand corner. They got to the point where they drove one more bid per rep per day with their sales team. At the end of the year, that added up to 625 more bids at a 32% win rate at $11,000 average per job. That put $2.2 million in additional revenue, back with the company, implementing a digital solution and a digital system all the way across their workflow. So, these things like, EagleView, the Roofing Passport, Predictive Sales AI, these things really add up. And the ROI there, it's measurable, but it's huge. There's no other way to get, that kind of ROI into your business other than with the digital transformation. And then it includes the digital training from you guys as well, where it goes. The whole package is super important.
Yeah, because that's one thing that's probably underestimated is how much having tools like this, and of course paired up with Predictive Sales AI, EagleView technology, helps with that close rate, that win rate. So you're getting in front of more people, you're earning their business more often, you're getting better quality leads, you have more technology, more tools to consummate those sales, and that translates into millions and millions of dollars in increased revenue. I always say this at Grosso University: you don't have to use any of these tools or do any of these things we tell you to do if you don't want to make more money. If you don't like money, if you don't want to be more successful, then go ahead and get the tape measure out and do it the old school way. But what you're making it so easy for the salesperson, for the homeowner to make an informed decision. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what they want to feel. They want to be able to go to bed at night, sleep soundly, knowing that they put their faith in the right contractor, they were able to make an informed decision, and we want to minimize that buyer's remorse. And I would even go as far as, and this is something that I do because I'm weird, but I would print off some of these EagleView reports and give them to the homeowner as a leave behind, so they have all that data, that information. It's just highly impressive. Or you can email it to them, right, as an extra copy for your leave behind packet. It's really good to button up that sale.
I agree. And, it kind of to dovetail with that, I mean, EagleView is a third-party independent data provider. So we just provide data, and homeowners can rest assured that there's no fudge in there. There's no inaccuracies. There's no, manual mismeasurements. We're the gold standard in the industry when it comes to aerial measurements, for sure.
Excellent. No, we appreciate all that information. That was absolutely masterful. And again, the whole concept here was Sherwin Williams piloting this program, like Chris Moore said in the first little segment, is they literally selected the top companies in their respective fields. And that's why, I'm trying to pinch myself, because me being a part of this is such an honor. But I can definitely see why EagleView is the #1 program software technology of choice for the roofing passport, which we're going to take a deep dive into.
Thanks for having me.
So I appreciate the information there, Rob. And again, we'll put some information on and how you get in contact with Rob. So if there's any element that you're hearing on this webinar that you want more information on, we'll be able to give you the contact information for all our special guests so you can get in contact with them directly. And all these companies, outside of the metal roofing program that we're talking about here through Grosso University, they are available to talk to even for your other products and services. Because we know for a fact that once you embrace this metal roofing program and you start working with these companies, you're going to want to utilize them for all the other products and services that you offer as well. So definitely don't forget that. So kind of moving on to the next phase, and this is like a production flow chart, right? This kind of talks about from phone call to install, everything in between. What are the layers to the program that are going to make this turnkey, that are going to make this successful for you, and of course profitable? And one of the key elements of this entire operation, this is something that Sherwin Williams made a massive investment in, and this is what I love about working with Sherwin Williams. They don't do anything halfway. And this is the roofing passport. So on this webinar, we're actually honored to have a representative from Sherwin Williams. He's the guy at the driver's seat of this entire program. I don't know, hopefully you don't mind me saying this, but this guy is a Navy SEAL. So when it talks about being organized, when it talks about, having attention to detail, he does not mess around. His name is Mark McDonald, And he's the one that actually initially reached out to us to bring us on board this. Again, he's the mastermind behind this operation. And this whole thing, again, being sponsored by Sherwin Williams. So Mark, obviously it's an honor to have you on the webinar, but if you don't mind, just a little bit of background on how this Sherwin Williams program came to be, how Sherwin Williams actually became a part of this, and how the roofing passport was kind of like from EagleView, from the Predictive Sales AI, how this thing came to be.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Don. I really appreciate Grosso University bringing this all together with and our partners. We're really excited to be here. This is something that we've been working on for quite a long time. We started back in 2017 looking at the residential re-roof market and trying to help our customers find ways to grow business and add value ultimately to the homeowner. And really that journey started with one of the challenges with metal when compared to asphalt is really just the speed of bidding as well as the confidence in the bid, but not just the bid to the homeowner, but confidence in the coordination with the material order with the manufacturer. And and what we learned over time was there's a tremendous amount of uncertainty there. So we realized there was potentially an opportunity. So when we looked around the industry, we looked for places where, who knows how to do this? Well, it turns out EagleView knows how to do this well. And they've been supporting the asphalt roofing industry, now for a long time, and thousands of reports going out to support that industry every day. So we asked the question, well, how can we leverage this into a solution? So they were great. They've been great partners from day one, helping us understand, how they do business and then how we translate that. Well, one of the elements that we had to bring to the table was the actual material component, right? When the material component for metal is quite a bit different than asphalt, where with asphalt, you can look at these squares, bring in stacks of shingles, flashing and lay it down and take your waste off the job site. Metal doesn't quite work like that. You start getting into some real risk with either shorting or having too much material on a job site that's pre-cut, custom to that job site. So we really had to find a partner that in this industry that could handle that. And we did find that partner in a company called Smart Build. And so Smart Build had been doing this for a number of years in what we call the post-frame industry. And that post-frame industry is quite complex. And we realized that they actually had the mechanics to use the data. So EagleView has the deepest, broadest data in this market of anybody in the world, as you've already seen. And so we wanted to make use of that data, and with Smart Build, we can make use of it. So
yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people probably what scares them about even getting into this is it's really an art form to properly order and install a metal roof. And you look kind of foolish there, and it's obviously devastating to your organization if you show up to the job and you don't have the proper amount of screws, you don't have the proper amount of flashing, you're not accounting for the proper amount of waste. Because again, as you mentioned, it's a whole different animal. There's a lot of room for error with asphalt. Of course, it's not that hard. When I was 18 years old with no training, I was installing asphalt roofing. However, with metal, that's one of the big issues with metal is if you don't have everything dialed in and the crews show up, they don't have all the materials necessary, you could literally delay a job for weeks or months. And that's one of the worst things that could happen. The homeowner's roof is half installed or 3/4 done. And what's going to happen? You're going to tarp that thing up? So yeah, you made it so simple. And one thing you're going to show here that I absolutely was blown away by is how detailed this really is. And this is another thing, to be able to present this to a homeowner, this is going to be highly impressive, and it kind of pairs off of what I was mentioning with EagleView, showing them these reports and that everything is accounted for. Man, you're going to be at a whole different level of professionalism and differentiation.
absolutely. I think what we realized early on was that, Sherwin Williams can't bring this to the table, right? We sell paint. and that, so we're not really bringing this. The people the folks who are bringing it to the table are our participating manufacturers, right?
Yep.
So we because we have a very strong presence and have had a very strong presence in the pre-painted metal roofing industry for the last more than 5 decades. Now we do have strong relationships with participating manufacturers across the entire country, and without them, this program doesn't exist, right? And so so they're the ones who can bring these tools directly to the people who are on this call.
And I don't think it's too much to say like how excited these participating manufacturers are to provide that support, to help these contractors become successful, and whatever other tools. I mean, they've been great to work with. Anything I ask them for, they deliver in 2 seconds. So yeah, they want nothing more than the contractors that embrace this program to be wildly successful. And they're as enthusiastic about this program as anybody. And rightfully so, right? Because this has been a missing element to the metal roofing business for too long. And it's about time that somebody adds a platform or comes to the industry with an entire program like this to allow contractors to run with this, because the demand for metal roofing is not going to go down. It's only going to continue to rise. And I was reading on Roofing Contractor recently that over 50%, actually it's 47% of homeowners are considering metal as their next roof already. And that's not going to go down. It's going to continue to grow. So it's very timely to get on board with something like this.
Absolutely. The question that we eventually got to, which took us several years of research and communication with all of our partners, was how do you capitalize on this opportunity? How do you, or said differently, why hasn't it happened, right? And it hasn't happened on the contractor side because there have not been well-established relationships to get that furnish and install capability that you can trust.
Right.
There haven't been digital tools to get confidence in the estimation and ordering process, right? There haven't been access to the broad spectrum, AI leads maybe decades ago. So now what we're really doing as a company is just bringing this all together. We're not doing anything new, right? We're not, EagleView already exists. Spectrum AI already sells leads. What we're doing is bringing this in a package, putting a bow on it, and handing it through our participating manufacturers to this market, right? And that's how we capitalize the opportunity. That's how we bring metal roofs to the homeowner. That's how we create a market opportunity for the people on this call. And it's all through the Sherwin Williams participating manufacturers. That's how we're bringing this to market.
That's what's great about it, because going back probably 8-9 years ago, that's when I first started selling metal roofing personally. And if I'm being totally honest, the way that was usually issued to our company is, here's your product, here's your samples, here's a couple images. And I literally myself personally had to build the whole presentation. I had to teach my salespeople how to sell this stuff. Good thing I knew the system really well. But we didn't really have any of the tools that we're talking about. We use the EagleView, of course, but literally having all this stuff packaged together to make it so a contractor doesn't have to spend literally weeks, months, years building this thing out on their own, and having the resources and the brand recognition, it just makes it so much, the firepower you have going into every house, and even on the back end and the support that you get from the manufacturers, it makes it so simple for them to hit the road running day one.
We've talked a little bit about it, so let's just dive right in. So let's show it. We've talked about it. Here it is. So this is the Sherwin Williams Roofing Passport. One of the first things that you'll see is that this is a very simple interface. One of the challenges that people have had in the past is, how do I find a tool that's simple? And I think EagleView, the heart of it is EagleView's made that incredibly simple, right? That's why they're the most prolific digital tool in the roofing market.
Yep.
What we did is we didn't want to make things more complicated, so we added a simple interface. So people are going in every day on the Sherwin Williams Roofing Passport, and it's really quite simple. So they come in here, you can see, oh look, it's EagleView, right? So and they'll have a job name, they'll type in an address. And it's really pretty simple. So when I hit locate address, what's happening is we're really looking at EagleView data. We talked a lot about, we learned a lot about EagleView data on this call, and now you see it. That's real data that you're looking at there.
Yep.
And they have taken an airplane and flown around this house a bunch of times over the last probably decade. And you can see we have a high resolution image of that home. So this is an integration with EagleView that Sherwin Williams has embarked on that has never been done before. And so we are deeply, tightly integrated with EagleView, and that brings forth a lot of neat things. Like one of the things that we have created. Now you could actually bid this job by hitting the create job button. But what if, for example, you're in a rural property and the house isn't center of property, like that blue property line? What if there's multiple properties on here and you want to bid one of 6 buildings? Well, so we worked with EagleView and we created this little red pin that I can kind of move around. You can see it disappear and reappear. Now, when it reappears, it's actually synchronized with EagleView. So when I hit create job now, not that I needed to move it, I could have just bid the roof. Or maybe, hey, maybe I like this house better and I want to bid that sucker. So I put the pin on there. Now when I hit create job, I'm actually going to get that roof.
Yep.
Right? So now that job's going to come back. So when I do hit create job, that's, one of the first questions is, well, how fast is it? Well, in this market with the customers that we have on the webinar here, that's got to be quick, right? Because we're booking appointments. We're getting in front of that homeowner. So we're going to want that estimate done now. So
First one, last one, and that's the goal.
Yep, absolutely. So the great news is we're averaging about a 3-hour turn time on this. Now, if the job's been run before, which is coincidental, you're talking 10 minutes.
Wow.
Fast.
Yeah, that's very fast, because I remember, when I first started using technology like this, again, a lot of technology has improved here. And this is why this is so timely, by the way, because as you explained, a lot of these companies have been around for a while. But the great thing about all these companies is they never stop improving on their software, their technology, the speed. But we'd sometimes be waiting for 2 or 3 days to get a report. So we had to set our leads out way so far in advance. And then a lot of times you'd have a lot of cancellation, no-shows, not all decision makers present because you weren't able to get the reports in time. So of course we want to be able to, as soon as that person calls in or we're able to get in front of that prospect on the phone, we want to be able to get into that house as soon as possible with the data. So 3 hours, that's absolutely amazing.
It's incredible. And that's really a testament to how successful and committed EagleView is in this roofing market.
Yep.
So when I look at the tool here, when I hit that button, I can sit here and load jobs in as many as I need to, or maybe it's 1, maybe it's 10. It doesn't matter. They're all going to come back in that 3-hour window, which is incredible. Now, when that job gets submitted, you're going to go do your job, walk away. You're going to get notified and say, yep, your job's done. And now what you're going to see is a hyperlink, right? And you're going to have your address, the job name that you put in comes back. And what's really the first great thing about our continued partnership with EagleView is when I look at this button, I'm going to go back to something you talked about a little bit ago. And you said, man, we really think that it's important for an in-home sales to have access to this EagleView imagery, to this EagleView, these premium products to go over the homeowner. That's the first thing you're going to get right there. All those things that you talked about, which is the full premium roof report, all of the EagleView imagery, and you can click and download, done, print it off, bring it in the house.
Yeah, that's huge.
It's huge. It's absolutely huge. So, but that's just the start, right? That's where, and so if we're doing asphalt, that's where we'd stop, right? But with our partnership with Smart Build, that's just the beginning, Dominic. So now we get into some exciting stuff. So now when I click, and this is a real experience as we see Smart Build launching, and what we're going to see as it launches is a full material list that we've actually put the entire roof on this home, and here it is. So within a few seconds, I've seen this load up, and the first image that I'm going to see is actually the roof. So this is the image of the EagleView data down to a fraction of an inch that's been put on this house. So when I look at this, I can see as a contractor, as a person who's going to put this roof on, I can go into any one of these roof sections and see down to the screw.
So this is the stuff that blows me away, right? So when I first saw this, I'm just thinking about how powerful of obviously a production tool, but also I'm a sales guy, a sales tool. If I can show this to a homeowner, how detailed this is, every single panel, exactly the way it's going to be installed, exactly where they're going to make their cuts, every screw they need to get, I mean, this would blow me away if I'm a homeowner and I have a contractor armed with this information, with that little Sherwin Williams logo dangling in the background. I'm like, wow, this is incredible. So yeah, it's very amazing.
It's fantastic. What makes this tool so powerful is that when like I mentioned earlier, it's not we Sherwin Williams are not bringing this to the people on this webinar. It's our participating manufacturers.
Yep.
And that's an important concept because our participating manufacturers are the ones doing all of the hard work of loading in all of their materials, all of their usages down to underlayment, sealant, flashing, trim, everything. And once that is in here and set up, which the contractors on this webinar don't have to worry about. They don't have to. They just get handed this service by these participating manufacturers, and this is the type of detail that job that we just ran is done, all of it, right? But that's not even the best part. The best part is
just out of curiosity, Mark. Sorry to interrupt you. Now, when a participating manufacturer begins that process, how long does it take for them to enter in all that information on average? Because the thing that I've been highly impressed with is how enthusiastic they are and how much they're willing to get their hands dirty to make this program a success. But how long do you think it took them to be able to enter in all that data, all that information, so this was even a possibility?
It takes people a minimum of 3 to 4 weeks to actually align their core database, and then probably another few weeks beyond that to test the tool out. So you're looking at between a month to month and a half to align the system. And so that's the type of commitment that these participating manufacturers have with this tool. We've refined the process over time to make it simpler, but at the end of the day, what this software is really doing is it's a template, right? That's so the manufacturers and their customers know how to put a roof on. They have to tell SmartBuild how to put a roof on and align it. And that takes some work. Anytime you're setting up a database, it takes some work. But that's the commitment that our participating manufacturers have in this market. That shows you not only the confidence they have in the system, but their willingness to bring value to the people on this webinar.
And that should give every contractor watching this such confidence, because again, nothing like this has ever existed. And it wasn't until all these massive, like I said, manufacturing partners, Sherwin Williams, Predictive Sales AI, Spectrum, obviously we talked about EagleView. It wasn't until everyone was able to come together to truly make this a reality. And this is something literally, when you're a contractor, you get involved with the program, it's out of the box, ready for you to run with. And literally, depending on which one of those amazing manufacturers you decide to work with, Sherwin Williams and EagleView and all these things, it's all integrated, it's all built out, ready to go. So you can access the Roofing Passport data for your specific product, the panel you're using, the profile of the panel, whatever you decide to sell, it's going to be built into that Roofing Passport, ready to go.
Absolutely. When I look at this, what is a contractor going to care about? Well, I think one of the things that they're most going to care about is, the actual bid for the job and the estimate. And so that all of those things that they want are instantly created. So the minute the EagleView data hits our system, all of those outputs are done, and they can simply click. They can set this up themselves, or the manufacturer can just provide this to them, whatever's easiest. Right? We're all about simplicity here, right? So whatever the simplest thing is, those are downloaded within seconds. And then from here, these things can be printed off, they can be emailed, they can be carried right into the homeowner. And so that's the simplicity of the tool, is that everything, once the EagleView data comes in, we have everything's done. Everything's done for them. and the contractor can get as much or as little access as they want. And that's going to depend on the contractor, how much they want to dive into this. They can just download the bid and the estimate and they're done. Or they can get in there if they're going to do a furnish and install and they're going to get training from the participating manufacturer, they may want to dive deeper into the tool. But we'll support our manufacturers along with the Sherwin Williams team will support really whatever is needed for that customer. And one of the things you mentioned earlier about climbing up on a roof and checking it, and that's still something the installer is going to have to do, right? From a liability standpoint.
You haven't figured out how to install the roof remotely, like via satellite?
Yeah, we haven't perfected that one yet. And so one of the exciting things in here is that that's a requirement, not necessarily for the contractor who may not be doing the furnish and install, but when we look at the geometry itself, that's also here. So all that EagleView data, that raw data is here. And if someone wants to get up on that roof and say, I got up there and it wasn't 13.4, it was really 13.6, and they can make that adjustment to that roof, and that is going to ripple through the entire bid once I click that button. And so that is basically that's basically how the tool works. And so you've got everything covered in here. We talked a lot about workflow. So this tool provides coordination, not just on the estimate process to get in front of that homeowner, but also provides that confidence in that material order. So the contractor who's bidding the job knows that they're going to, get what they wanted to out of the job because they've got confidence that when the order goes in, everyone's going to get what they expected, right? The right material is going to show up to the job site when they want it. It's going to be the material they asked for, and then everyone's going to make money. So, and that's an incredibly important aspect of this.
Yeah, and like you mentioned there, the contractor, even if they're armed with the bare bones minimum of what this technology offers, they're still going to be leaps and bounds ahead of their competition. And if you want to go as detailed as the 3D models or even get a lifelike rendering visualizer of their house, you can take it as simple or as advanced as you want to go with all the data and the information you provide. So making it very simple.
Absolutely. And finally, I guess one final note on the Roofing Passport is that you'll see some other tabs up top here, Roofing WRX and uploading XML files. So what's that all about? Well, some contractors might be interested not just in the re-roofing aspect, but also new home build, right? And when you have a new home build, there's not going to be EagleView data because there's no building. And so in this case, you have plans and drawings. Now we've partnered with another company and integrated with them called Roofing Works, Roofing WRX. Very exciting partnership because now we have the whole package, right? So we have the EagleView data that's already out there covering most of the market, and we have the vast majority of the market. And now we have Roofing Works who can handle plans and drawings or a contractor's sketch of a house, whatever we need to do. We can process that data. We can bring that data in-house and process it just like we showed with EagleView because of that partnership with SmartBuild. So that's really, I guess that's really it on the tool. We're really excited to provide this capability to our participating manufacturers so that they can in turn serve the people on this webinar.
That's excellent. No, we appreciate the partnership very much, Mark, and you guys have been phenomenal. Again, at the helm of the ship, really the whole program. And we appreciate going through that information. So if that's not enough to get you excited, I don't know what it is. But if you don't mind, Mark, a lot of contractors, because you had mentioned that a lot of these manufacturing partners, again, they're enthusiastic, they're ready to provide any support. If you don't mind, what are some of the other things that they're willing to do to ensure that contractors can acquire crews, make sure those crews are properly trained? Because I'm sure that's one of the questions that everybody's wondering right now. Because from my experience, sales is great, but if you can't get the crews, hire them and train them, it doesn't really matter. Then you're just in for a world of headaches. So what are some of the back-end supports that, I guess, how far does it go with some of these manufacturers?
Well, I think that's a great question. And so when we've interviewed contractors about, hey, why haven't you gotten into metal? We've covered a lot of reasons already.
Yeah.
Right. We've covered, well, where are my leads going to come from? How are we going to handle that? How am I going to get training on the product? Well, hey, your leads come from Spectrum. Training comes from Grosso University, right? We talked about that. We talked about, gosh, I'm not really confident in that bid. I don't know if I'm going to make any money on this job. Well, we've got that covered with the roofing passport. But one of the other pieces that's a big deal is, well, how am I going to get the roof on the house?
Yeah, that doesn't matter. Just keep selling. We'll figure it out later.
Don't worry about it. Well, we Sherwin Williams certainly are not going to help with that, right? We sell paint, but participating manufacturers, that's the business they're in, is having relationships, right, with people who do put metal roofs on houses. That's actually what they do for a living. And more importantly, or as important, not more importantly, but as important as that aspect of it, also getting the material out there and making sure the material is available when you need it. Yep. So what are the things that our participating manufacturers bring to the table is that infrastructure and those relationships to do that, right? So that's going to include things like, where's the metal coming from, right? Is it one of their stores? Is it a distributor or whatever? And helping work through the relationships necessary to get that supply chain in place, right? And I think that's one of the big reasons that this hasn't happened before, because those things haven't existed. Well, now, largely through this program, now we can do that, right?
I can tell you personally, there's and again, I don't remember, it was a long time ago, probably like 10 years ago. When I first started offering metal roofing, it was like, I don't even know, like 8 months we had to wait to get material to install it, which is devastating, right? Because then the financing expires, you have to reapply for loans, and the homeowner is like, hey, it's winter now, what are we gonna do? We were supposed to have this roof buttoned up. So it's important to know that these manufacturers are committed, they deliver prompt and efficient service. Obviously, depending on the manufacturer and where you're located in the country, lead times will of course vary. But we're partnering up with, again, our participating manufacturers. These are top-notch, high-quality, high-caliber. They're ready to deliver it to you in a timely manner, so you can crank out these jobs, sell them, and install them in a timely fashion for your customer. Because that's very important. More than ever before, everyone can relate to that watching this webinar. I don't care if you're selling windows or asphalt roofing or whatever it is. It's crazy, the lead times, and we have to be creative. But this is an opportunity for you to add that additional product to your arsenal that's going to have those more consistent lead times and make sure that we can furnish and install these jobs timely. So,
absolutely, and I think the other thing that's exciting for us is that when you look at a largely untapped resource in this particular market with the folks on the phone, we also have the opportunity through these participating manufacturers with training, right? Mm-hmm. Folks have some incredible training programs to help people learn how to install their products, right? Yep. And that's an incredibly important part, because some folks on this call have crews, right, that do put roofs on houses. Maybe not metal, maybe they dabbled in it, but now we can bring to the table as a market some additional capabilities, some additional labor to get trained up, and these participating manufacturers can offer that as well. So I think whatever makes sense in a particular market for a particular customer, there's folks out there to work with, and we're really, really excited about it.
Now, if I'm a contractor, depending on the territory I'm in, some of these contractors are going to have the means to meet with a couple different of these participating manufacturers to decide which one's the best fit for make sure they're in line with one another. Is that possible?
That's a market opportunity that they'll have to capitalize on. That's not something that Sherwin Williams is involved in.
Yeah, right.
Contractors and the manufacturers in the market. But yes, there's more than absolutely. There are multiple manufacturers out in the market today that are participating in this program, and we're very excited, and they're very excited to meet with you.
That's awesome. A lot of great information. Again, we can talk about this program for hours, but again, if that doesn't get people excited about the attention to detail and the upfront investments, again, everybody that's a part of this program is 100% on board. We're all ready to go to make this the most successful program in history. And if you're a contractor watching this, again, you recap this whole flow of this project, right? So you got your leads, as we mentioned, through Predictive Sales AI. You got your sales training through Grosso University, something that we're going to pour our heart and soul in to make sure your salespeople are sales warriors. They're armed to come out with that sale more often than not, make that close the natural conclusion. That's all going to be turnkey, ready to go, included with the program. Of course, we talked about EagleView. We talked about the Roofing Passport, how they integrate with one another. So you're able to get all those sales tools and production tools to make sure that your salespeople can educate the homeowner, make them feel comfortable, build trust. Your production staff is going to have all the information down to the last screw, down to the last piece of flashing, exactly what they need to furnish and install and order this project to perfection. So you don't have those cases where salespeople or someone on the production staff makes a mismeasurement or makes a mistake. And of course, as Mark said, even if they have a measure tech that goes out and double checks something, you have to make adjustments, you can do that right on the fly. It automatically recalibrates that for you. You can generate proposals. Me going into a house with all the training, all the samples and supplies, all the technology, all these amazing companies backing me, there's no chance that I'm walking out of that house empty-handed, right? And the opportunity is completely untapped. So when you launch this program in your respective territory, you're gonna stick out like a sore thumb. And the asphalt industry is a big industry, right? And everyone and their brother is installing asphalt roofing, and it's hard to really differentiate and set yourself apart. So when you go to market with this exclusive metal roofing program, with the proper technology, the proper training, with your lead generating machines, your sales training, your ability to grow and scale this and make it the most profitable venture you've ever done is pretty much undeniable. And again, we're with you every step of the way. So Grosso University is going to be your wingman in this operation, right? Your wingman. You got Sherwin Williams. They're all in 100%. Again, me just having Sherwin Williams behind this, I mean, that gives me all the confidence in the world, right? And then you have Spectrum, Predictive Sales AI, the most advanced artificial intelligence software in the industry. It's going to make sure all your salespeople get quality leads. So no more complaining about leads. You can say with absolute sincerity, you're giving them the best opportunity to be successful. You're teeing up the best quality opportunities you can. And then we have other stuff that we didn't even get into, but we're going to have the means through this program with some of our participating manufacturing partners. You can get as detailed as you want to on the visualizers, the proposal tools, all this stuff, so you can take it as far as you want to go. And when you're a contractor, when you first sit down and we're going through how to build this out for you, everything's going to be custom tailored for your business. So the presentation, the workbooks, the tools, we can even co-brand and white label the online training platform. So when your salespeople log into it, let's say your name is ABC Company. It'll be ABC Company's website branded for you and your team, which is highly professional. It's going to give your salespeople all the information they need to be successful. So again, I just wanted to bring everybody on. So what we're going to do is we're going to end this webinar with about a 10 to 15 minute Q&A. If anyone has any more questions, we want to make sure we get those questions answered. And if you want more information, of course, we're going to put a link in the chat box in the description at the end of this webinar. You're going to be able to set up an appointment. We can go through the whole program with you. We can tee you up with some of our participating metal roofing manufacturers. They can show you what's available to you. We can show you how easy it is to get this program off the ground and make it the most successful and profitable business venture to date. So we appreciate taking out time out of your day to tune in to the Grosso University webinar. We're really excited to unveil this exclusive metal roofing academy. On behalf of Grosso University and all of our partners in this webinar, we just want to thank you. And as always, yes, you are a closer.